I was cleaning the office windows on the 45th floor when I saw him crying. This man in his expensive suit sat alone at his massive desk, tears streaming down his face. I had cleaned these windows every Tuesday for 6 months, but I never saw anyone show real emotion in this cold building. Everyone always looked busy and important, but not him. Not today. I worked 3 jobs to support my sick mother and little brother. The window cleaning job paid the most, even though people looked through me like I was invisible. But something about this man made me stop and watch. He looked up and our eyes met through the glass. My heart stopped. He had the saddest eyes I ever saw. Without thinking, I pressed my palm against the window. He stared at me for a long moment, then slowly lifted his hand to match mine on the other side of the glass. The next Tuesday, he was waiting by the window when I arrived. He held up a piece of paper that said, "Thank you for seeing me." I smiled and wrote on my notepad, "Are you okay?" He shook his head and wrote back, "My father died yesterday. Nobody cares about me, just my money." My heart broke for him. I wrote, "I care," and meant it. Week after week, we talked through the glass. I learned his name was David. He inherited his father's company at 28 and had billions but no real friends. Everyone wanted something from him. I told him about my mother's cancer treatments and how I dreamed of becoming a teacher someday. "You're the only person who talks to me like I'm human," he wrote one day. One rainy Tuesday, he wasn't there. Security told me he was in meetings. I felt empty without our weekly conversation. I left a note stuck to his window, "I missed you today." The next week, he was back with flowers pressed against the glass. My heart jumped. He wrote, "Would you have coffee with me?" Not as a rich man and cleaning lady, but as David, and he held up a question mark. "Emma," I wrote back. Just Emma. We met at a small cafe near my apartment. He looked different in jeans and a simple shirt. Nervous. Real. We talked for hours. He told me he envied my strength, how I worked so hard for my family with such hope. I told him money couldn't buy the kindness I saw in his eyes. "I've been lonely my whole life," he said. "Until I met you. When my mother's condition worsened, I couldn't afford the new treatment. I never told David, but somehow he found out. The hospital called to say an anonymous donor covered everything. I knew it was him. I found him at his office after hours. "You didn't have to do that," I said through tears. "I wanted to," he replied. "You gave me something no money could buy. You gave me hope." That night, standing in the rain outside the hospital, he kissed me. It was gentle and desperate, like he was afraid I would disappear. "I love you," he whispered. "Not because you need me, but because you see me." "I love you too," I whispered back. "Not despite your money, but because of your heart." 6 months later, my mother was healthy. David proposed with a simple ring. Not the huge diamond everyone expected. "I want to marry Emma the teacher, not impress Emma the cleaning lady," he said. People called me a gold digger. They said I was using him. But David knew the truth. On our wedding day, he said in his speech, "Emma saved me when I was drowning in loneliness. She loved me at my lowest point through a window when I had nothing to offer but tears." Now I teach at a school David built in our neighborhood. Every morning, I kiss him goodbye and see that same grateful look in his eyes. He still writes me notes just like through the glass. Sometimes the greatest wealth is finding someone who sees your soul when the world only sees your surface.